you guys are the only group with two people on the team. What has that meant for you to have each other's support throughout this finale week?
Jadyn.
Or, yeah. Am I going first? It's been a lot of fun. I mean, I think Team Bublé has just been an absolute joy to work with alongside everybody else on the season. And so it is kind of fun to have at least like one more with me so I don't feel like alone, especially like during these interviews and stuff. I'm like, yay, I don't have to answer by myself. I can have
Yeah.
a friend.
Jadyn is fun. Jadyn is honestly like I can get really serious way too easily, and Jadyn's just kept me like I'm glad that we're paired up, like for real. I think that we're lucky that we have each other, that there's two people on the team.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of two, you guys had to do two different kinds of songs this week. I'm curious for you, what was the more difficult song for you to kind of get right on stage?
Um, for me, it was definitely the slow song. I think I just struggle with slow songs. I think a lot of my performing ability is like in the ability to have fun and like just like perform. And so like standing still, I'm like I just want to like move. And it was such just kind of like a stripped down song. So that one was definitely my most difficult, I would say. And Come On Eileen was just a party. And that one, like, since there's so much distracting me, it's like I can't even overthink about anything else. I'm just having so much fun up there, and I'm hoping that everybody else is having fun. And it was so much fun.
I think for me, um, well, I mean, both my songs were kind of on the ballad side. Um, Hard Fought was was a song that I related to deeply. Um, it wasn't it wasn't a challenging song so much like technically, but like to sing that and like not cry for me was honestly like kind of a challenge. Um, but then on the other hand, You Are So Beautiful, there is some um there are some challenges with that song being that like there's very little words. Um, so it's really easy to keep things too simple. I feel like it's possible. So the way that Joe Cocker, the dynamic buildup that Joe Cocker has with that song, and I watched like every performance I could find. Um, it's different every time, which is awesome. And there's it really builds in a very strategic way, and I tried to be really mindful of that without overthinking it and getting in the way of it happening naturally. So, you know, they both I really liked them both.
You both have gotten some extraordinary positive feedback from superstars during your time on the show. I'm curious how much of that has actually been able to sink in for you and how much you're having to kind of be Teflon until this experience is over and then take everything in when it's all done.
I am definitely my worst critic, and I have a hard time believing anything good that anybody says about me, doesn't matter who you are. And I always like to say, like, it's the people closest to me that I don't believe the most because it's like, well, they're just telling me that I'm good because they love me. But then I get people that have no idea who I am, and I still don't trust them. So I don't really know what it is. I think I just don't believe anybody except for my brain, negative brain. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that one day their comments will sink in for me, and maybe one day I'll believe in myself as much as they do. But yeah, for now, I'm still my worst critic for sure.
I'm gonna mirror that sentiment. I definitely struggle with taking a compliment. Um, I am very hard on myself. I'm definitely a perfectionist. Um, I will say that um, all the things that this whole show for me has been like a like I'm trying to exercise that muscle of taking the compliments, and besides the compliments, it's like something happened when we hit top 20. um and I started to like realize like at what point do I have enough like external proof or external uh validation is not the word I want to use, but that that I can start to believe it for myself. Like how many people need to tell me, you know what I mean, that I'm deserving of believing in myself and that I'm worthy of it for me to just start to believe, you know what I mean? Um and so I've been on that path. I think we all have, honestly, because we've talked about it a lot, you know. I think me and Jaden have talked about it as well. And but it's a lot of really nice things, and eventually I'll have the bandwidth to really hear them.
Adam, specifically for you, no, obviously last week you had a more difficult results show and you had to fight for your life on the show. What did that performance do to you, both in that night and also for your time on the show going forward and kind of getting that extra oomph and knowing that the audience did save you ultimately?
I think, you know, every round I really you don't know if you're going home. You know what I mean? And every round you want to stay, and every round I visualize getting through, and it's as it approaches that the doubts and the fear, like they come up the same. You know what I mean? Oh, well, maybe this time it'll be different, you know, in the negative way. Um, and I think, you know, when I wasn't in the top four, yeah, my gut kind of dropped. And then when I found out that I was one of the instant saves, I mean, honestly, to go up specifically against Bryson, Olivia, and Iris, in my mind, like I wasn't done fighting, but I felt like I was going home, you know. And when I went out and I sang the song, you know, it wasn't a perfect performance. I did see some not so great comments, and I found myself objectively agreeing because objectively I was emotional. I was very overwhelmed. Um, you know, it it was actually the first time that I could read some of those comments and give myself some compassion because they had no idea what that moment felt like, and I could give myself the grace. And I am grateful that um, you know, relying on my instincts again got me through, you know, and that America was generous enough to give me another chance.
Well, and Jaden, you've been so open about how your father has influenced kind of your time on the show, and obviously your very first appearance on the show was tied to him as well. I'm curious, how, what kind of conversations have you been able to have with him about this, given how bizarre this voice experience is and how few people in the world have actually gone through this process?
Honestly, like none. I don't think people understand how busy this week is and just getting ready for all of this. I have absolutely no time to really talk to anybody except for the people that are here. And all that I knew is really what he said before, just keep practicing your song, just go over it and over and over and over again. And that's really all that I got. I think he has the same kind of memory as me where it's like it goes so fast and you do so much that you just forget. Like I don't even think he'd be able to tell me what to prepare for because he probably doesn't even remember himself. Because it's just days, super long days, and you're doing just one thing after another. You just don't have time to breathe, let alone talk to
Yeah.
anybody.